we are here. Back in business, and that's where we are right now. We have multiplayer implementation that goes this far. I can zoom in, I can aim, I can switch my weapon, I can shoot, I can kill these boys. The only problem that I have is if I join in, the state is not really synchronized. So that's a bit of a weird thing that's going on. How do I handle this with the players? Host server. Okay. And then somehow right. That might have been my bad, because when I add them, I do not add... Do I add them to the spawner? To the players. But... let's remove these and try to make a new spawner. But we call this one the enemy spawner. Let's say 10, maximum 10. And here what we're gonna do to the auto spawners, we're gonna add, oopsie. No, can I? Great. I add this one like that. And the enemies, when they join into the game... Is it game state? No. The controller for networking, right? That's what I want, actually. Oh, yeah, right. And I need to add here the enemy spawner to that, and then we have enemy spawner dot right. Reparent, new parent is gonna be this one here. Like that. Could this work? Let's see. You know, these spawners are a little bit like magic. Okay. Oh, there is some error here. What is that? Has already been made. Right. Remove parent. What? Parent node is busy adding removing children. Remove child can't be called at this time. But isn't that what reparent is for? Change the parent of this node to the new parent. The node needs to already have a parent. That's what I mean. The node's owner is preserved if its owner is still reachable. Why is this not working? Well, I gotta look this up actually. Reparent. Has parent. Good though. Real count edge child already has parent. Well, that's what I'm trying. That's what I'm doing. When am I supposed to do this then? Maybe not then, but maybe when? This is a bit strange. Don't get why this doesn't work. This should work. Let's check it out. Even though there's an error. If we can just get... So there has to be a way... Yeah, there's an inconsistency because they don't spawn. There's no... I think I know why. Because there's no way to communicate between the two users the game state of how many... That's what I need to do. I need to communicate somehow the game state of how many enemies there are and what their life is, basically. You should be called, be able to be called from everyone. Oh shit, somebody's calling me. Reparent is really, really annoying. So yeah, the spawning must depend, and then... How can I get the information from the host? Mm-hmm. So that I don't need in here. Actually, the enemy spawn is not supposed to be a networking thing. And I can also remove that from here. That's a physical world thing. And I think that's also where we added the enemies, right? Or where did we add the enemies? Okay, we just added them to the main game loop. So now I can kill these guys when you join in. So I want to have two different what? I want to have two. Do I want to check for each enemy with the server? If you serve like authority or like server ID is 1. Hmm. Yeah, that's kind of like I need something to handle the enemy spawners, basically. So I can't kill them, but I need. Right, that's sort of that's the tricky thing. Okay, let's try that out, shall we? Let's make this. Let's call this enemy spawner. Yes, come on. Ugh. All right, good. I have an idea how I do that now. So my idea goes as follows. The enemy spawner. What was that? What was I thinking? I was thinking, so the host hosts a game, the enemy spawner spawns basically the enemies. Yes, a new player joins in, and when a new player joins in, then sort of like a sync up enemies function that is separate from the like. Okay, so there's like the spawn enemy. Okay, wait. Let's how did I call these? Game state. So we have the player spawn, which gets added to the game state, right? Let me see here. Where's the game state? Controller. Controller game state. Do I put the game state? Do I put the enemies also in the game state controller? No, but I will, however. I am, in fact, loading in the physical world, right? I could put the... And I should actually do that. I should load in... Physical world is the first thing that gets loaded into the game. Main game loop. Does that work? Can I just add the main game loop to the physical world? To have like a just like that. Make local. Okay. Remove this, yes. Okay, and then main game loop is not gonna be this thing anymore. We can actually theoretically delete that. But I wanna have a new thing that we're just gonna call startup, okay? Just gonna call this thing startup, start up. And put this startup. Oh, I already fucked up. Not startup, but I want to call this setup. And this one as well. Good, and we go here, general, run, setup. Good. Now it should still work though. Does it work though? Let's see. Apparently. Mm-hmm. Good. And then the main game loop, we can delete that and remove this here as well. Right. It's just global illumination data that we have there. We can come up here. Okay, great. Player spawn, good. All of these things are great. Let's put the enemy spawner, ambient light, reflection, background, sky, procedural sky, sky. Uh-huh. Okay. Good, 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 good. We have the directional light. This is all good. This is perfect now. Good. So now comes the interesting thing with the enemy spawner, how we can handle this. We must remember each instance has all the same objects. The only thing that differs is the ID that they have and if they are the multiplayer authority or not. What is that? Who calls this? Okay, no errors, good. So. Good. Do I care for... Does this have to be a no 3D? No. Actually, quite on the contrary. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, wait, I'm gonna ask Grok for this. Get a random position within a volume, within a plane in Godot. Right, yeah, I mean, not quite what I wanted, really, but I think it'll do. So if I have a spawn point and it's supposed to be a marker, right? Let's call it marker. marker, and we call it enemy spawn point 1. Good. Okay, where the hell is it? Trying to snap to. Oh, down there it is. Okay. Perfection. Good. Good. And now let's add a script here to that thing. Enemy spawn a script. Enemy enemy spawner. And well, what do we want to do here? We want to do the following. We want to first spawn enemies. Okay, right. We have spawn enemies. Then we have spawn. Wait, we have spawn enemies. We have spawn enemy, right? Enemy. Then we have remove enemy. I would presume. Physical world is gonna be something that we can load in, right? Physical world script. Physical world is the first thing that actually loads in, right? Does this still work if I move it down? Is this supposed to be the first thing that loads in? I'm not sure. Well, it does now, at least. Good. So you want to spawn enemies, and this is an exclusive for... I want to have spawn enemies. We want to have sync enemies, right? And that should only be able to be called by... This should be called authority, called by the authority, and be called remote for the other guys. That's what I think. And then spawn enemies. Mm-hmm. And we're gonna call this a little bit different here. Do I have any reference to the physical world? No, I don't. Or do I? I do actually. Let's just call it like that, world. It's gonna be just world. Mm-hmm. And here we have an enemy scene. Where is it? And that I'm gonna put in here. Enemy scene. It's gonna be a packed scene. As per usual, I just do like a basic mock-up. Add existing enemies. Let's call it like that. Add existing enemies, and then we have spawn spawn enemy, and then we have basically the location where we spawn them. I mean, I'm just thinking out loud. I don't know if this is how it's gonna work. And then we have the current health, right? Basically, what we're gonna do is new enemy, var new enemy, instantiate, and then add child, new enemy, and then new enemy dot global position equals location. Right, but before that, new enemy dot current health equals to right. Does that make sense? I hope so. I hope it makes sense. Yeah. Okay, physical wall. Let's remove these enemies here. Good. Spawn enemies. That's actually going to be the part for spawn enemy. Singular. And then spawn enemies. And then we have gonna have a list, I presume, right? But the list is each player is gonna have their own enemy list. Var enemy live enemies, or like existing enemies. Existing enemy list. Let's call that. Existing enemy list is gonna be what? A dictionary or an array? It's just gonna be an array of enemy. No, it's just gonna start off with as an empty array. And then it's this array, existing enemy list, or it's not a good name. Current enemies list. Current enemy list. Okay. And then we have dot append. We're gonna add the new enemy to that list. So then we're gonna have that. But the spawn enemy Let's just make a list here for max enemies. Say 5 for now. Let's go function ready. If how do I say this? Get unique ID is 1. Okay, if we get is server. Okay, so if we are the server, that's the easiest way to check that actually. If we are the server, then what? Then we're gonna loop through and just spawn these guys, or what? I'm just gonna spawn one guy. It's gonna be RPC, and this is gonna be by the authority, and then also call local. Reliable, that's important. And then we have spawn enemy dot RPC, and here we're gonna have location is gonna be our enemy spawn point one dot location position. Location might have been, let's call it position. That's not good. Spawn pass. Global position. Does this work? Let's see if this works. Oh shit, we got a dude here. Hello, my dude. He did. Great. That worked. Nice. Let's try this again. So now we go. Let's just call it twice. What happens if I call it twice? These are two dudes. Yes, correct. Are they gonna bug out of each other if I do this? Plus vector 2 dot ram. From, let's go from to 10. 0, and then we go the same thing again. Oh no, it's gonna be vector 3. Oopsie doopsie. My bad. Let's see. Okay, these guys over there. That's perfect. Three or five, and then here the same. 3, 2, 5. Good. So we have the two things going on now. They are spawned. They work for our server. How would this work? Enemy spawner, multiplayer. Let's see. Only the authority calls that. Here we have the synchronizer already. All right. Now this is what I'm now very interested in. Do I still have to add? So we have the 2 here. Oh shit! It works. Oh! I'm going to auto spawn out with reserved name. Character body, right? Okay, that's the problem. With reserved name. So this is going to be that. And we say enemy nodes. Enemy nodes. And there we have enemy scene. Okay, enemy nodes dot add child. Valid names. Ah, okay. Add child. What was that? Force readable name. Okay, true. Let's try this again. This is interesting. I've never done this with a readable name. What is not happening here? On spawn receive condition parent has node. It's true. Okay, so only the authority spawns the enemies. So that already does the trick. It's kind of crazy. But the spawning happens only on the authority. So if I was gonna do that here, remove these, remove that, what would then happen? Would it still work? Crazy, it still works though. Interesting. Huh. What? Oh yeah, right. Because it's doing that anyway. Only if the multiplayer is the server. Ah, wait a second. But it's a bit tricky, eh? Unspawn receive content. How come? My brain is hurting. Hmm. Why is it not working on the first one though? What? All right, I'm gonna take a break.